And of course, there's the moment of awkward silence again before the live stream starts. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another live stream. I think this is number 7 weeks strong. Today we're going to talk about pretty much whatever you guys want to talk about, and I'll throw some stuff in there as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully you guys follow along. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the live stream. Looks like notifications went out. We'll go ahead and get set up here. Make sure everything's working. First things first, I gotta get the chat. I gotta get the chat popped out here so I can see. Boom. Alright, we got the chat rolling. Just give me a second here, guys. Make sure I can see everything going on. Audio's working, video's working, chat's out. Alright. What's up? Hunting and stuff with J&J. Sitting here waiting. What's going on? John, are you seeing my questions? Last week you kept skipping my questions. Not that I know of. Only questions I skip are from trolls. Sometimes a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but sometimes you'll get some trolls in here asking, you know, some rude comments, saying some rude stuff or something like that, and I'll have to block them, but not intentionally skipping questions. W. Giverson, what's up, buddy? Michigan Outdoorsman, what's going on? Thanks for joining the live stream. James Miller, what's up, buddy? 1972, David's here again. W. Givers, how's your week? Week's going strong, going good. Feeling good. Was busy today. I literally haven't ate anything today. Been going nonstop today. Last half hour, my daggone computer froze up. Had to restart it like 3 times. Finally got it working. I wasn't even sure if the live stream was going to work tonight, but we're here. We're live, talking to you guys. It's another good Tuesday. What's up, Timothy? Welcome back to the channel, guys. You guys know the routine. If you guys are, you know, joining in, please share this live stream out to your buddies. Get them in here. More people, the better. I want to welcome everybody that's, you know, always here every single Tuesday. Welcome back. Thank you, guys. And yeah, I love talking to you guys, man. I look forward to this every Tuesday. Been getting some new people in here over the past few weeks. Some new questions. I know a lot of people have been sending me messages on Facebook. Also, guys and ladies, my brand new website is now up and running. WhitetailObsessionOutdoors.com. I had to do a switch from different server domains, and it was just a mess. But it is now up and running. So you guys can check that out. I put up weekly blogs on there for now. There's also some other information on there, some contact information, and then within the next month there's a store section on there, so I will be selling t-shirts and hats and some hoodies and some other things on there. So that's WhitetailObsessionOutdoors.com. They're just click, I think there's a shop now button, so that will be active or live in the next week or so, or sorry, month. SJ Outdoors, what's up? Did you get a lot accomplished in PA? I did. Went to Pennsylvania over the weekend to my hunting lease. Checked all the trail cameras, SD cards that I put out 5 weeks ago. Had a bunch of pictures, some decent bucks, lots of deer in the area. It was a good weekend. It was like 50 degrees, 55 degrees. Had some snow on the ground, so I did a lot of scouting. I'd seen, or had I got a better idea of where the deer are traveling through the area. Especially when it snows, you really, it's like a perfect time to do some scouting when it snows like that. So I got to do that, and I also took some soil samples of the big food plot, a smaller food plot, and also a screen plot, as I call it. The wall. It's going to be a wall. It's going to be about 12 feet tall, and it's going to block the road off from trespassers and poachers and things like that. So I got those samples, took those to the ag store, dropped those off. I'm currently waiting to hear back the results of the soil sample. That way, I can know, you know, what I have to do as far as, you know, lime and fertilizer, etc. What's up, Dylan? What do you think would be the best thing to plant in sandy soil? You can plant some clovers. I know clovers can do fairly well in sandy soil. I've seen that from experience. One property I had years ago, it was very, very sandy. You know, you can get some clovers that grow in there, some brassicas, things of that. Hunting stuff with J&J. So you plan on keeping the tree stand you found on your property? Yeah, so I posted a picture on social media today on our Facebook page. While I was at the property, I found a ladder stand. It's actually the second ladder stand that I found on there. The first ladder stand I found 5 weeks ago, and I put a note on it. And it was on my property, so I put a note on it. You know, you don't know if it's a trespasser. You know, you don't know if it's a neighbor, you know, kind of, you know, he might have made a mistake, came too far onto the property. You don't know. So I was giving it the benefit of the doubt. I put a note on there basically saying, you know, this tree stand, you know, needs to be moved. It's on private property. You know, if, you know, left my phone number, I said, left my name. I said, please call me, you know, if there's any issues, but it needs to be moved. Well, when I went back up, the note was still there, and I actually set a stick up on the seat, you know, that way if I knew somebody came back, you know, obviously the stick would be gone, but the note was there, it wasn't touched, so I'm assuming it was just left from the previous leaseholder. It's no big deal. So I left it there, left the note there, let it go for another month or something. So while I was scouting, I found another tree stand, and it's on my property, so I put a note on that as well. But this place was leased before 2 years ago through a leasing agent per se. So I had called them and asked, you know, could this be somebody trespassing, or could it be from the previous leaseholder? And he told me a lot of times, you know, because that's all he does is leases, a lot of times the people, you know, the lease holders, you know, a lot of times they'll travel from, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours away. And a lot of times they'll just leave the tree stand there when they don't renew the lease, just because, you know, it's not worth them traveling 3, 4, 5, 6 hours to get a, you know, $100 tree stand. So he said in most cases, a lot of times them guys just leave them behind, and in the contract and everything, it's fair game. You know, if the previous person leaves the tree stand there, you know, it becomes yours. So I'll give it a while and see. James, what's the plans on a tree stand you found? Yeah, just explain that there. I'll probably leave it there for a little while, and then I'll maybe set a camera up near there. It didn't really look in that good of an area compared to other areas that I've seen, so it'll probably just end up getting moved. But it, you know, I'll end up using it for sure. Wisconsin Whitetail, what's up, buddy? Haven't seen you in a while. Found my first shed yesterday. Are you guys shed hunting? Shed hunters, yes. I shed hunted up there in Pennsylvania over the weekend. I didn't find any sheds. I checked the trail cameras, and I've seen 2 bucks on camera that have already shed, but I didn't see them. I didn't find them. So I'll be going back up in the next couple weeks, and I'll be shed hunting again. So hopefully I can find some sheds there. I'll also be shed hunting this coming weekend on a couple local properties that I have. Hunting with Preston. What's up, buddy? Yeah, you guys asked the same question there. Daniel Coons, what's up? Gregory, what's up, Dave? You're more educational. You're more educational than any Tuesday night TV program. That's pretty funny. I try to be educational, man. Like I said, guy, I'm not the smartest guy out there. Yeah, I make mistakes. I make mistakes every single day. But what I do enjoy is talking with you guys, and I like interacting with people, you know, on the average level, because we all work a daily job. You know, we all try to hunt and, you know, do the best we can with what we have, and that's kind of how I like to keep it. You know, I like to keep it, you know, as a, you know, even playing field through everything. And I like talking to you guys, man. I like interacting, try to make videos that can help the average person. And as I've said many times, it's about, you know, I talk about this more tomorrow. A new video comes out tomorrow through when I was scouting the property, and it's kind of like a vlog type video, but it comes out tomorrow at 7 p.m. I talk about it more on there. It's about, you know, creating something, and when you can create something, you know, it's an excellent feeling. Adam Casto, what are you planning for the wall? Deer egg, which is the seed that I'm going to be using this year. They have a new product this year called The Wall. It's sorghum grass and I think Egyptian wheat, I believe. I think that's what it was. But yeah, it can grow like 8 to 12 feet, obviously depending on your, you know, soil conditions and, you know, nutrients available to it and things like that. But yeah, it'll grow. It's called The Wall. It'll grow up to 12 feet tall. It's probably going to be about 200 yards long, and probably maybe about 10 yards wide. That should be plenty. That way it can block off a certain area that you want to block off. And there's going to be a food plot on the left side of a logging road, and I plan on planting some there as well. That way when I'm walking by that logging road, this wall will be on my left side, and I should be able to sneak around that food plot and get to the back side of the hunting property if I decide to hunt back there, and be undetected if deer are still in that food plot, obviously depending on wind conditions. SJ Outdoors, yeah, I always do that in snow. You really learn a lot. My season's winding down and getting ready for turkey, but before hinge cutting and food plots, do you think about planting spruces for visual? Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I was down over the weekend, and I saw, I'm getting pumped up for turkey season because I've seen so many turkey scratchings, turkey tracks. There was just turkeys all over the place, back into the timber in the pines, and there was just so many tracks. There was deer tracks all over the place, trails just zigzagging back and forth, and droppings all over the place. It was just so much deer activity. It pumps me up because I just can't wait to see what I can get out of this property, you know, from now until you know, through hunting season. It just excites me. I'm very, very excited about it. And yeah, it's just gonna be a fun process. You know, like I said, it's always to me, it's about creating something. When you can take nothing into something is what pumps me up and gets me excited about doing this type of stuff. You know, improving the area. Yeah, it's just very, very exciting. Daniel, I saw the video that you made about the Groundhog Max disc. After further use of it, do you think it's worth $300? I do. It honestly depends what you're trying to do with it. If it comes down to not being able to afford, a big tractor or a bigger disc that's going to cost more money, then yeah, absolutely, $300, it would be the way to go if you have access to a four-wheeler. It really just depends on the area that you're doing. I have a few smaller plots that I'm going to be using it on this year. The bigger plot that I'm doing on this property is 3 acres. I'm not going to use the Groundhog Max on that property initially, just because it's so big of an area. I'm going to have to end up renting a tractor and a rototiller. But once I get that tractor in there and disc up that ground for the very first time to loosen that hard soil, after that, I think I can go through with the Groundhog Max to, disc in the fertilizer and the lime, and just to rough it up before planting. So I do think that it's worth $300 after using it last year. It really just depends on what you plan on using it for. Just if you're using it for smaller things, I would say, an acre or less, then I would absolutely 100%. What's up, Jason? John, what's up, John? Ideas for a timber kill plot can only take down dead trees. I did that last year. And one thing that I found that worked very well into the timber was oats. Planting oats in there turned out better than any other seed or species of plant. Was oats. Oats did very well. They're fairly shade tolerant, and they will pretty much grow anywhere. So if you're doing a kill plot, back in the timber, oats would be the way to go. With that, you can also get away with some clovers, different types of clovers, but oats seem to work the best. Wisconsin Whitetail, will the Egyptian wheat in that wall seed come back in future years? No, it will not. It'll grow throughout the spring, summer, into the fall, and then it will die off through the winter. I bought one of those cheap Walmart pop-up blinds, TP blinds. The windows in height are the wrong location. I can't sit in a chair. Makes me too high. Definitely can't stand in it. Yeah, those things aren't the greatest. That's for sure. Hunting stuff with J&J. Always good to have him here. And I'm sorry to say, won't be able to make it out to the Harrisburg show on the first weekend. I forgot. Committed to a local show in Spencer, New York that weekend, but I might make it the second weekend. I'll be there the second weekend as well, just in a different booth. Second weekend I'll be at the Spy Point booth. First weekend is the Antler Grove booth, 4120. James Miller, what's good plants for turkeys as well as deer? Clover. Clover. Turkeys love clover. They love getting in there, getting there, bugging around, scratching. But yeah, clover would be beneficial for both. Ian Kirby, what's going on, man? We planted Egyptian wheat this year, only thing, but after some cold weather and snow, most of it smushed down. Need that smaller sorghum plant. I actually planted sorghum last year as a wall on a very small piece of property that I hunt. It was, can't remember exactly what it was, but it grew, I'd say probably 10 feet, 8 feet. It lasted all the way into, I would say, right around early November, once we had that first frost, and then it died off. Daniel, will the wall grow almost anywhere? Yeah, it's I wish I could I don't know how to do that yet, but I wish I could pop it up in the screen and I'd show you. But the wall will grow. It's very anywhere, pretty much anywhere. It is very shade tolerant and also pH tolerant. So if you want more information on that, if you go to deerag.com, click on products and then click on the wall. I think it's toward the bottom. You can read up on it there. It'll give you a little bit more, detailed information than I can. Ian Curry, what kind of seeds do you plant and when? Deer egg seeds. It really depends. Like this year, I'm up in the air about planting a soybean field. It'll be 3 acres. I'm up in the air about it because I don't know the deer, if it'll last the deer pressure, if it'll survive the deer pressure. 3 acres is a big area, but soybeans, deer will tear up some soybeans. So I don't know. Getting it to grow is going to be the hardest part as far as deer pressure, the pressure on the plant. So I'm up in the air about the soybeans. I'm not 100% sure yet what I'm going to plant this year. I will be meeting Deer Ag at the Harrisburg show to kind of discuss that a little bit more, just to see, get some more details on some stuff and kind of come up with a game plan. But I have to see what happens with it. I think 3 acres will be enough for soybeans in that area, from what I've seen from the the trail cam pictures and all that. So I'm just up in the air about it. I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen with that. I may end up doing some sort of clover. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. John, have you thought about doing half beans, half corn? I don't want to plant corn. Corn really doesn't have any beneficial value to deer, so I really don't want to plant it other than cover. But there's plenty of cover on the property, so if anything, it would just be all beans, 100% beans. James Miller, any recommendations on a good trail camera that does time lapse? Looking to get one for next season. I've been reading lots of reviews and not sure which way to go. Obviously, I'm kind of biased in my opinion, but I've been using Spy Point trail cameras for 4 years now, 4.5 years. If you just want a good all-around camera for a reasonable price, would be the Force 10. It's $99. It's Force 10 megapixel, time-lapse mode, 0.03 trigger speed. It's the fastest trigger speed on the market. It's kind of it's a really small, compact. Actually, I got one here. So basically, this here, minus the antenna, this is the Force 10, but this one is a cell version. They turned the Force 10 into a cell version, but this is basically what it looks like. But yeah, for $99, it's a compact camera, and they kind of threw all the bells and whistles in there as kind of your more expensive cameras do. But for $99, the batteries, depending on if you're doing videos or how many pictures you're getting, but they've done tests on it, and I've actually got over a year of battery life out of just 6 AA's. But they've had instances where they've gotten like 14 or 15 months out of 6 AA's. So the battery life on those are excellent, and it will do great time lapse as well. Intervals of, I believe, 5, 15, 30 hour, and every 6 hours, I believe. Josh Ring, clover and bean mix. Yeah, it's up in the air. Kyle Henderson, what's up, man? Hey, Dave, glad to hear you had a good weekend. I drove down and spent the weekend in North Carolina. Most of their sporting goods stores had huge sales and bought some stuff back home. That's awesome, man. It was a really good weekend for most of the area. We had 50 degrees, 55 degrees, sunny. It was just a good time. We use Barnett blinds, really great blinds, and not bad on price. Windows are all in the right places. Inker, will you be showing us when you plant that one land you were talking about, the 2 videos back on the logging road or something? Yeah, Ian. All the videos or all the food plots that's coming up here, from start to finish, I will be showing you guys from every single step, start to finish. The first video on that starts tomorrow, and then continuing every Wednesday. As the season goes on and more things are happening, you know, as far as, you know, that time of year, everything's green and growing and food plot season, more videos will be rolling out. But yeah, all the food plots that I do this year, it's probably going to be about 8 food plots. I'm going to show you guys how I do them from start to finish. Food, soil testing, you know, lime, disking it, you know, planting it, everything from start to finish. Wisconsin whitetail, we have a small quarter acre soybean plot, and they grew fine, and the deer are just finishing off. Next year we were going to plant about a quarter acre more beans. Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's the route I'm going to go. You know, like I said, 3 acres, that's a pretty big bean field. James, no problem. John, corn is great for deer in the late season due to high carbs, helps them warm up. It doesn't have much protein. Yeah, other than carbs, corn is useless. Daniel, does clover do okay with low pH? Clover can be very sensitive to low pH. You're probably going to need, I mean, to get a really good stand of clover, you're going to need at least a 6.0. If not higher. 6.5 is probably preferable. I actually had one spot last year. It was a 5.5, and just with you know, adding the lime, you know, that stuff takes time to get in there and actually, you know, see results with it. And it won't grow. It won't grow in that low of pH. After working up the soil, we just broadcast the beans by hand. Then we use a drag to cover them up. You don't need to drill them. Soybeans can sprout on top of the ground. Oh, absolutely. You don't need to drill. You know, broadcast them will be perfectly fine. Let nature do its thing. You can cover them up. Let it rain. Rain pounds it in there. You'll be good to go. Not to mention, the average person typically don't have a no-till drill. So we're left with broadcasting. Works perfectly fine. Are you going shed hunting next month? Hope to see what you find on your new place. Yeah, I'll be shed hunting for sure. Several times coming up here in the next couple weeks. I did a little bit over the weekend, didn't find any, but I will be continuing shed hunting there to see what I can find. Hopefully, I can find something. In your opinion, will the groundhog max break new ground? Absolutely. I did a video last year breaking up new ground. It was probably about a quarter acre plot. Broke it up very easily. Took about, I want to say about 30 minutes, 35 minutes, something like that, to get it fully, get the whole thing done. You know, breaking the ground, getting it nice and fine, and you know, where there's not a lot of clumps in there and all that. It broke it up perfectly fine. I was happy with it last year. I actually did it twice. I did it with that plot the very first time breaking the dirt, and then you know, 5 or 6 months later I did it again on the same area, and then I did another plot as well with it breaking new ground, and it worked great. I would love to shed hunt and actually find some. Never find on public land where I hunt. Yeah, shed hunting's fun. Tough. I have friends of mine that'll shed hunt, and they'll be out in the woods for 5 minutes, you know, 3 minutes, and find a shed. It's one of them things where You just have to have like an eye for it. I'm not the greatest at it. I tend to walk too fast and not pay attention. I'll get sidetracked, but I find them. I find them every year. But I'm not. I know people that'll, like I said, get out there and find a shed in a matter of minutes. Where I'll be walking all day and find like a half a shed. Uncle Matt's Collection. What's up, man? With 3 acres of standing beans, you're almost guaranteed to find at least one shed, possibly more. There are deer in our small bean plot from 5:30 at night to 6 a.m. right now. Yeah, for sure. That's kind of one of the reasons why I want to do a food plot, 3-acre food plot. Even now, really, it's just a bunch of, there's really nothing in that field right now that's very beneficial to anything. So planting something in there will help tremendous. I'm hoping to find a shed in there, but we'll see. Uncle Matt's Collect. How's Dave doing? Doing great, man. Doing great. Best place to find sheds is a heavily used bedding area. Yeah, for sure. Bedding areas, logs, creeks where they jump, fields where they feed, bedding area, 100%. Any suggestions for what to grow with low pH? Oats. I did that last year, like I talked about earlier. Oats will get you pretty much anywhere. It may not say that it can grow like that in low pH, but I did it last year and it'll grow. Low pH, it'll grow, 100%. John, are you going to burn that field before planting? Probably not. I'm not sure. Haven't decided yet. Have to see what I'm going to do with all that. With Antler Grow, do they make different kind of sprays? They make Antler Grow, and then they have some new products being released this year. Farmer's Touch, NPK, and Crops to Cattle. But yeah, that'll be the new products that they're coming out with this year. Dave, can you make it to Connecticut? We should duck hunt the CT River. Interested? Possibly. I'm always interested in hunting other states, so for sure, definitely interested. Ian, how much does pH matter? pH, when you're planting food plots, is probably the number one reason why food plots fail. If you have a low pH, depending on what you're planting, the food plot's going to be pretty much worthless. So if you don't correct that pH, you're going to have a food plot that's not very beneficial because it's not going to be able to pull all the nutrients out of that soil. Not to mention, it probably won't even grow. The whole idea with a food plot is making it to where it's the most palatable food source on your property. Doing that is having the correct pH, using Antler Grow to enhance that food plot and give those plants the nutrients that the soil is lacking. So anything that you can do to make the food sources in your area more palatable is key with all that. Even natural browse. A lot of people think that they have to plant a food plot, but in reality, you know, you can create pretty much a free food plot. You know, if you have a field or something and you bush hog that field, and just spray it with antler grow, that's your food plot. So if you're looking, you know, for a cheap way to be able to have something like that, that's an option for you to do. What time of year should I plant oats? You can plant them in depending on what state you're in, but late summer, into, because they'll last into the fall, into the winter. Very high in protein, but yeah, they'll last into the winter for sure. Ian Kirby, I've done all that. Your best bet is to actually dig some dirt up, put it in a bag, and take it somewhere and have it tested. I did it over the weekend. Tested 4 food plots, put it in 4 separate bags, dropped it off at the feed shop. They were $10 a piece. Just waiting to hear back the results. I bought all that stuff before. They're fairly close, you know, roughly, but you're not going to get accurate. You know, you need to know 100%. So if you want 100% accuracy, take it to a place, give it tested, and it'll tell you exactly what kind of soil that you're dealing with. I always find a lot of sheds in grassy areas. I haven't found any in an actual field. Last year I found 12 sheds in grassy areas. The shed I found yesterday was in a grassy area too. Yeah, it's I've noticed on different properties, it's actually weird. Like some properties you'll find them, you know, like you're talking about in a grassy area. Other ones you'll find them in bedding areas. It just really depends where they're hanging out the most, where they're feeding, you know. But bedding areas are good. Thickets, fields, grassy areas, log, you know, creeks where they jump over. You have to jump over a deadfall, where they land at impact, you know, knock them off. Will you broadcast lime on top of snow to prep a future play? You can for sure. I was actually going to do that this weekend, but just didn't have enough time. So while I was there, like I said, I got that soil sample. So once I find that out, the very next time that I go there, I'll make sure that I bring lime. I should know something by this week, so I'll know what the pH is. I'll go ahead and get the lime, head up there and start spreading. Even though if there's snow there, doesn't matter. You know, the sooner you can get it out, the sooner it can start working. Obviously, I'm not going to disc it in now, just because the ground, you know, is still partially frozen. But in the next, you know, 2 months, you know, start working that in there, disking up, start prepping the areas, and all that fun stuff. Daniel Coons, one of the best place to buy seed. You can go to your local fertilizer store, something like that, but you can get it online, anywhere really. Just don't get crazy with, as a lot of people call them, you know, buck on a bag seed. You don't want to get crazy with that. Is, you know, when you see a celebrity's face on like a bag of seed or something like that, a product or something, don't buy it. Buy something else. You know, buy deer egg seed. Buy, you know, some stuff from your local, you know, feed shop. But yeah, don't buy buck on a bag. Does pH matter what kind of seeds you plant? Yeah, I mean, all plants varies, but in general, you need you know, 6 to 7 pH. It just depends on what you're planting, but the better your pH is, the better any kind of seed that you plant you're gonna have better results with. But so the higher you can get that pH, you know, 6 to 7, 6.5 is, you know, optimal. 7's obviously the best for the majority of what we're trying to plant. But yeah. David, is it too early to start shed hunting in bedding areas, or will that push them out of the area? Well, obviously, if you're going into a bedding area, you have you're taking the risk of pushing deer out. But as far as being, too early, no, I wouldn't. It's not too early. But the less you can go in there, obviously, the better. But depending where you're at, what state you're in, I would say, in the next couple weeks, is going to be your best shed hunting. Maryland, I've honestly seen deer, late February, still holding horns. So it just really depends on your area. You kind of have to, gauge that, on your own to kind of know when to start. John, no, I have not used Fridge's Forge. Joseph, how do you get your pH balance up? Add lime. Add as much lime as you can. Typically 1,000 pounds per acre is going to raise your pH 1 point. Pelletized lime, you can probably get away with a little bit less. You can probably get away with 500 pounds. Depending on what type of soil you have. But yeah, start adding lime. As many bags as you can buy, add it. It's pretty cold here. Can I take an accurate sample by thawing the ground with charcoal and digging down 5 to 6 inches and sending that in so I know how much lime to use? Yeah, that's what I did. I dug down, 4, 5, 6 inches, and it was wet soil. A lot of times that wet soil, they won't test it, so it'll have to air out, dry out a little bit before they'll actually test it. I live in Maryland. What part of Maryland are you in? Baltimore, Maryland. March is my favorite time to shed hunt because it's warmer and all sheds are on the ground. Yeah, March can be a good time. I like around, third week or so in February, mid-February. But March is a good time as well. It really just depends. I know I have a lot of friends now that are, finding tons of sheds now. So it just really depends, what area you're in. And like I said, you have to use, your own visuals, in your area and own judgment to know when to shed hunt. Trail camera use, past history, knowing your property, etc. So you guys got any more questions? What do you got? Dave, do you have your own land that you hunt on? Yeah, I have a few small places around home. And then I just got a 118 acre lease in Pennsylvania, which I will be doing a bunch of work there. Pretty excited to see what you can get out of something. And I've talked about this before, and I know there's a bunch of people kind of joined in here, but But when you, to me, it's about creating something. So, you know, I talk about this more in a video that comes out tomorrow. But when you can actually create something, you know, plant a food plot or any little improvement that you can make on small properties, you're going to have huge rewards with it. So if you say you only have, you know, 30 acres to hunt on, if you put trail cameras out and you just say you have 2 deer on that property that you're seeing, 2 deer. Well, if you can do a small improvement to that property and all of a sudden have 3 deer or 4 deer or 5 deer, you created that. You made that happen. You brought those extra deer in there. And to me, that's what it's about. It's not always about, yeah, killing one is awesome, amazing, fun, fantastic, but to me, it's the fun process is seeing what you can get out of it. Joseph, have you added antler grow on your deer feed like corn or store-bought products? I've done it on corn before. Antler grow is a micronutrition mineral, but when you spray it on corn or something like that, it'll then become a macro nutrition. They'll still be getting the minerals from it, but it's best to do it through greening growing plants as nature intended. Heavy arrows or light arrows for bow hunting. You know, there's a huge you know, thing going on now with heavy arrows. Everybody's starting to shoot, you know, these 450, 500 grain arrows. I'm all for it. You know, you just have to have that perfect balance. I think mine are about 425, I believe. That's pretty much what I've always shot, roughly. A few years ago, I was shooting a little bit lighter, about 370, 380. But I do agree on the heavier arrow, just so you get that, you know, that knockdown power. Dave, are you going to do multiple plots on 118 acres or just one large one? There'll be a 3-acre food plot, which will be the largest one on the property. There'll be a 1/4 acre food plot. There'll be an 1/8 of an acre food plot. One that's smaller than an 1/8 of an acre food plot, right below an 1/8 of an acre. And then there will be a wall. The wall is going to be a 12-foot barrier that prevents poachers from shooting into a field. What's up, Nate? What's your feelings on using a drone to do scouting to avoid getting your scent in the area you are interested in hunting in? I mean, I don't really have a problem with it. You know, I like putting feet on the ground, you know, searching and scouting, but you know, using a drone like that, I mean, if you wanted to, you know, say like you had I guess for an example, if you had like just say you had a front field, okay, and you're trying to get to the back field, and say there's a chunk of woods in between those 2 fields. Well, if you fly your drone over to that back field and see if there's any deer there, you know, before you start walking back there, so you don't push the deer out, you know, I can see it that way. But, you know, I'm all for anything legal. NC Mountain Man, that's a very good question, and I have the perfect answer for you. I have one white oak on my property that I want to see do real good. Any recommendations on fertilizer or what time to fertilize? Buy Antler Grow and NPK fertilizer from Antler Grow. Antler Grow is not just for food plots or green or natural browse. It's also for trees. It's for vegetables. It's for fruit trees, oak trees. It's for anything green and growing. So if you were to take that and get a sprayer, pressurized sprayer, you can spray as high as you can with that. It'll get you up, 30, 40, 50 feet. But if you can spray that with Antler Grow, huge difference. They've sprayed apple trees, orange trees, all kinds of trees, and huge results. Pine trees, the list goes on. Daniel, no. You don't use Antler Grow on the ground or soil or seeds. You wait till the plants have germinated. Depending what you're spraying, anywhere from 4 to 6 inches tall, that's when you start spraying Antler Grow. It does nothing to the soil. If you guys have more questions on that, if you go to the channel, or you're on the channel, but if you click on playlists, there's a playlist on there labeled Antler Grow, and there's tons of informational videos on there that explains things more in details, and it shows you how to use it. If you want to, click on that playlist and watch it there, it'll give you a lot of more information. Joseph, do they send Antler Grow to Canada? Yeah, believe so. Yeah, I don't see why not. If you go to antlergrow.com, there's a telephone number on there. You can give them a call, tomorrow or something, and ask them. But I'm sure they would ship it to Canada. I don't see why not. SJ Outdoors, Dave, you're 100% right. I'm on 5 acres with surrounding woods. No one else really hunts, and I'm over the last 4 years. I do something each off season and have seen numbers getting bigger on deer herd. Yeah, and that's the fun. That's the fun in it. When you can take any amount of property. Here's a perfect example. I have a property that's 2 acres. Okay? 2 acres. Yeah, it is surrounded by other woods, but I only had permission to hunt those 2 acres. So I've talked about this before, but just to throw it in there real quick, there was no deer on these 2 acres. The deer wouldn't come in. There was no reason for them to come into these 2 acres. There's nothing there for them. So I started, every now and then, trail camera, you'd see like a deer, here and there, but it was pretty much worthless. So after spraying Antler Grow, the deer started coming in there. Planting a food plot made it even better. Spraying it, spraying it. Next thing you know, I had deer after deer after deer after deer after deer in this 2 acres of property. And deer will find a way to work themselves around other hunters. So if you got other hunters in areas and those guys are in there pressuring it, the deer become familiar with that. They know, they know when somebody's in there. So if you can create that perfect food source that's very palatable to the deer, they'll find ways to get there and avoid other hunters. So as long as you don't pressure that, if you can create, a very, very, very healthy, palatable food source, even on small property, I don't care how much property you have, the very, very smallest piece of property that you can think of, if you can have that best food source in the area, deer will find a way to get there, 100%. Daniel Coons, I've heard some people say that pine trees are very acidic and it's hard to grow anything near them. The soil in pine tree areas are very, very typically very acidic, but it's not it's not impossible to grow it. You just have to correct the pH. But yeah, typically in those areas the soil is very acidic. Not from experience, I haven't really had that situation, but just from, you know, friends planting food plots and research and everything like that. Yeah, that's the soil can get pretty acidic in those areas. Dylan, will you spray antler grow on soybeans? 100,000%. Yeah, 100,000% on soybeans. It'll blow your mind on soybeans. 2 years ago, I think it was the first year I started using it. One of the farms that I was hunting on, the farmer planted soybeans that year, and I had sprayed the soybeans in like a kind of like a U shape or a half a circle, and the deer mowed that area down, the areas that were sprayed, but didn't really touch the other soybeans. So yeah, if you have some soybeans, I hope you better have a lot of soybeans, because they're gonna love them. Huntinator Antler Grow, great show tonight. Good stuff. Awesome to have Huntinator Antler Grow here watching. Pretty cool. Danny's late. He gets penalized. Danny's late. He joined late. He's penalized now. Doing good, man. Doing good. Good weekend. Good week. Getting geared up for that Harrisburg show. Next Friday, I head out at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. I start heading north to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Booth 4120. Joseph, is it hard to grow soybeans? Well, it depends where you're trying to grow them and how many you're trying to grow. We just had this talk the other day. You know, deer love soybeans, so if you have more deer than you do soybeans, you know, the soybeans, you know, they won't establish. So, but as far as growing them, if you can get them to grow, you know, obviously back to your basics, you know, you got to have good soil pH and, you know, all that good stuff. But yeah, deer will tear some soybeans up. Like I said, I'm still up in the air about planting them, but I don't know. 3 acres of soybeans would be I can't even I can't even imagine what's going to come in there with 3 acres of soybeans once they're sprayed. It'll be insane. Then there's some nice deer in your spy point the other day. Yeah, there's some decent deer in there. Like I said, first year hunting it, first year working on the property, so don't know 100% still what's there. I'm sure there's some other bigger ones. I'm sure there's a lot of other smaller ones, but that's the fun. That's the fun in it, you know, taking nothing into something. David, are you going to the Harrisburg show the second weekend, the 10th and 11th? Yes, I'll be there the second weekend at the Spy Point booth. First weekend is the Antler Grow booth. First weekend's when it's going down. We're going to be doing a bunch of videos, live videos. There'll be a bunch of people there talking hunting, taking pictures. Try to give you guys as many educational videos as possible while I'm there, because one of the owners, Jeff Beeler, will be there. Very knowledgeable person. Or try to get him to, well, not try to, he's more than willing to do it, but I'm going to try to get as many videos from him as possible, just trying to help you guys as best as we can with this stuff, with real, you know, information. So that's going to be going down. Just because, like I said, I want to help you guys. You know, everybody wants something, you know, that works, and we just talked about this earlier today. You know, people are tired of gimmicks. You know, and it kind of leaves people with a bad taste in their mouth when they buy something. You know, they think they're buying something good, and it ends up being garbage. You know, and they don't, and it you know, pisses them off. You know, they spend their, you know, money on something, you know, 30, 40, 50, whatever it is, whatever they pay for, and, you know, it doesn't work, and it's garbage. You know, there's a lot of gimmicks out there. So when, you know, and it makes people not want to buy products because they're buying garbage. So I'm not going to promote something that's garbage. So no matter, you know, how much, you know, money somebody can pay me to say that, you know, a product works, when deep down that I know that it doesn't. You know, I'm not going to do that just because it just doesn't. I don't work that way. So we'll be trying to give you guys as much educational videos and information as we possibly can, and it'll probably be not one long video. It'll be several smaller videos that will be uploaded, and, you know, Facebook, YouTube, and all that stuff. Uncle Matt's private land is getting harder and harder to come by. 100%. 100%. It's almost getting impossible. On the spy point videos you posted a couple days ago, did the heavy snow set off the camera? I think there was one photo or one video that I didn't see anything on, and it was snowing. So I don't know if it was a snow, if it was something else, but it was one video in there that I didn't see anything on. But the rest of the videos, I think there was, I don't even know. There's so many videos on there. It was all of deer. I think there was one coyote. Rest were a bunch of does, bucks, and, you know, there's an 8-pointer. There was a smaller 6. There was a smaller 8. There was a spike. There was a 4-pointer. But there's all kinds of stuff on there. Believe it or not, you have helped me with all your advice on your videos. I'm like you, an average hunter, and any help advice is always helpful. 10 thumbs up to you, bro. Thanks. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. It's always good hearing that too, you know. When you're trying, you know, I'm all for helping somebody, and I'm all for, you know, taking advice as well. So, you know, it's a relationship. You know, you kind of grow with people. You know, you accept advice and you try to give advice. You know, like I said, we're all here trying to do the same thing. You know, trying to improve our hunting areas. You know, and people are tired of gimmicks in the hunting industry. You know, it's very oversaturated a lot of times with certain things. But people are tired of it. You know, people buy something and it doesn't work, and then they get upset about it, and they doesn't make them want to buy other stuff. So, but with real, you know, useful information, and if you have an open mind, you know, you can have great things. SpyPoint has the best customer service out of all other trail cam companies I've ever dealt with. Yeah, they do have good customer service. I actually talked to them today on the phone. But yeah, they do have good customer service, good cameras. You know, there's no smoke and mirrors with the cameras. You know, they do what they say. They work. They run. They have good battery life. You know, there's nothing bad that I can say. Are you planning on doing predator hunting to help keep your herd around and keep turkey numbers up? I do. In the next month, or no, I should probably say 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks, I'm going to go back down and probably do some coyote hunting. But yeah, predator hunting, definitely 100%. They help the best way they can. If they can, they send you a new product. Been with them for 5 years. Absolutely. I think I'm up to 4 years. Been with them 4.5 years. Been using their cameras, and I used their cameras before that. I became like a partnership with them. But yeah, great cameras. They do what they say. Long battery life. Good customer service, and I'm always honest with stuff. I think in that time, that 4-year period, I had one issue with a camera, and the screen went bad on it. I called them up, got an RMA number, sent it back. I had a new camera in like, I don't know, 5-6 days or something. It was under warranty. They have a 2-year warranty. So, with that said, it worked out. Got a new camera. They stuck behind their 2-year warranty, and no issues. Well, I think that's it, guys. It's we're over an hour here, so it was good talking to you guys again. If you could do me a huge favor and give this video share out there, share the video. Please give it a thumbs up. If you're watching the replay, please do the same. Share it out there. As always, thank you guys again for watching. And new video coming out tomorrow night, 7 p.m. And then I'll see you guys back here next Tuesday at 7 p.m. And then that Friday we head to the Harrisburg show. So if you don't follow us on Facebook or anything like that, find us on Facebook, and we'll be doing a lot of live videos from that show. So if you want some kind of live real-time information, you can join in on those videos and watch. If not, you can wait for the videos to come out on YouTube and Facebook. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a good rest of the week, and I'll see you guys back here next Tuesday. See you guys.